long does this dish keep? Is it one of these things to where you can eat off of it the next day, all right?
I have no idea. We never have leftovers in our house. No, it does. It keeps very well, and you can freeze it. It heats in the microwave. You can put it back in the pot and reheat it. It's great to feed a crowd because it is a very low-cost dish as well, depending on the meats that you choose to put in it. Rice is very inexpensive, and you can always add a little bit more rice to make it go a little bit further, or a little bit less rice if you're carb conscious. You can make it more meaty.
So some of y'all may want to actually, for the next potluck, which we'll be having soon, some of you might even want to try your hand at making this. Hopefully Lori will be there, and
yeah.
You can perhaps give her seal of approval, or...
Yeah, be creative with it. You know, I like to see dirty rice made with a lot of different meats. Don't mess with the Holy Trinity vegetables, though. You got to have the pepper, the celery, and the onion.
Now, speaking again of Lent, some of the things you'll notice, as we were talking earlier, is that we have things that change actually during the Mass itself. Now, a lot of this is to help us to prepare during this time, to help us to feel that the time is different. You know, everything feels a little bit drier. It feels a little, almost not empty, but just feels very, very different, and feels arid, almost like kind of desert-like, which is what it's supposed to be. It's a time where we're to focus. And one of the things which, kind of going off what Lori was saying a little bit earlier, we have so many things in our world that can kind of distract us and get us to the point to where we're missing a lot of the things around us. And it can be all the electronic stuff we have. It can be the TV. It can be any various things. Phone constantly dinging from text messages and stuff like that. And all of that can keep us from truly being able to hear God's voice. Which one of the things which we want to do is always to try and take some time to hear God's voice. Well, we only can do that if we're quiet. I didn't hear anything, but that's okay. Do we need all the onion, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all the onion.
Yeah.
But part of Lent is also taking the time away for prayer to try and hear God's voice. And the only way we can hear God's voice is if we take the time to do that and to give some silence. So I've had friends that give up, don't entirely give up their cell phones, but much as Lori was saying with her family, would not use their cell phone at all during meals or other times like that, just to be able to have that time for reflection and prayer. So
okay.
All in at once?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you think, meditating and being quiet alone is difficult, I think it's more difficult in a group. So sometimes at family dinners, it's nice to just sit quietly together. I love the chatter at our family table, but I also love having just a moment of soaking up that time together and letting Christ truly come and be with us. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we try to do occasionally during Lent as well, until someone burps or does something to distract the quietness. Let's go ahead and add just a little bit of unsalted butter, maybe a little bit more garlic, and I guess I need to turn this thing back on. Just let that simmer a little bit. The rice is looking really good. I don't ever strain my rice because it takes all the good flavor down the drain. So you try to just keep that double the liquid to the amount of dry rice, and cook it slowly, and that way you don't have to use a strainer.
Now, if you wanted to, with the rice, could you do a combination of like stock and something else, like a white wine or something like that? Or
I've never tried that. I'd like to see how that turns out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I make my own chicken broth, and I'll use that in combination with some of the drained fat from if I'm using a higher fat meat and I've got excess that I need to drain off. So what you boil the rice in is really, you can be as creative as you want with that, because it does add that flavor because it's cooked into the rice. So as you're eating the dish, it hasn't been sprinkled on top of it, it's actually cooked into it. So you really do taste it more.
Now, with having so many boys around the house, and I'm sure you end up going in 87 directions all at once, how would you take time during Lent in order to be able to spend that time either in prayer or something like that? I mean, how do you find such time in the busy schedules I'm sure you'll have?
Well, that's the key to it. You have to put it into your schedule. You can't just say, during Lent, I'm going to pray more. We really have to absolutely say on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. we're going to have 10 minutes of family prayer. So scheduling, scheduling time with God. You schedule time with everyone else who's important to you in your life. Schedule time with God.
And that's the way I think it is for all of us. I've had people tell me and say, it must be so nice to be a priest. Lent is that peaceful time and you just pray all the time during Lent. I wish I could.
No one dies during Lent. There are no families in distress that need your help during Lent. That all stops, right?
Not quite.
Yeah.
But, I think it's the same with all of us. And so to be able to take that time, and a lot of y'all, if you're still looking for something that you're going to be doing during Lent, maybe trying to do something kind of like Lori does with her family. Put something on the schedule, and it's whether whether it's with you and your kids, or you and your spouse, or just even you by yourself. Taking that time and put it on your schedule. You put birthdays on your schedule, you put appointments on your schedule. Why not also schedule time with God? And that helps us to do this time and to spend the time we need during Lent to prepare ourselves for the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus, which is what we build up to in the course of going through Lent. And Lent really is meant to bring about a change in us, and it's not just a change for the days of Lent itself, and then we go back to the way things were before. It ought to elicit a change in us that is a change for good. Too oftentimes I think we look at it as saying, I'll go without chocolate for Lent, and then as soon as Easter hits, we're shoving chocolate bunnies down our throat. And what if we truly changed? So Lent is that time to change who we are, to change our hearts, our minds, our lives.
I'm adding seasoning.
Okay.
Every step of the way, remember.
Okay.
And I'm going to be nice on this because it does have a little spice. This is where I'm going to add the red pepper. Just see, I've already taken the little thing off that makes it come out slowly. I don't use that with red pepper. So I'll have to put it into my hand. Or
Those are just red pepper flakes?
Just red pepper flakes, which I'll crunch up just a little bit as I'm putting it into the dish. And the more the better if you like it spicy. Red pepper is what Tabasco is. Red pepper is just, Tabasco is just red pepper and vinegar. So I cook with a lot of red pepper, and then I add Tabasco after the dish is cooked. I don't usually put Tabasco in, is that coming? Yeah. I don't put Tabasco in when I'm cooking.
Okay.
That's an after cook. A lot of times in Cajun seasoning, you'll see that they add a seasoning called filet. I don't use filet. Filet was used whenever the seafood that was being used in the dish. Do you use filet?
I have some.
Do you know what that was used with? The purpose of that? It was to hide the flavor of bad seafood.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're using really good seafood, you don't want to hide that flavor. This will mask the flavor of, let's say you have to, heaven forbid, cook with catfish.
Okay.
So filet gumbo was, Cajuns are not amongst the wealthiest. And so filet gumbo was, used because they sold all the quality fish and brought the rest of the fish home to cook for dinner.
Huh.
So, and I have no idea what's even in filet. I just know whatever it is, it kind of masks the flavor, takes out some of the bitterness.
One time I think it's sassafras root.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at the final stages now. We've got the celery's looking kind of clear. The rice is done. All we have to do is combine it and add some Tabasco and bon appetit. You want to do the joy of adding the rice?
Sure.
Oops.
That's all right. All right. We just add it all in? Okay.
Just dump it in.
Oops.
Spoon's a little.
There we go.
Yeah, the spoon's a little. That's non-stick pans. I know. I'm not very good.
No, it's all right. I got plenty of non-stick pans myself.
I don't like doing dishes. So the stuff that did stick to the non-stick pan, leave in there.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
All right, and then we'll just mix this up. And again here, if it seems a little dry, you can add a little chicken broth. It does not look dry to me at all. It looks yummy.
Okay. At this point, I mean, if we wanted to add more spice, would you, or would you do that more on the table with the
Depends on who you're
Tabasco?
serving. You know, if you know that everyone you're serving has the same palate, then go ahead and season it to their taste. If you're going to have some mild to spicy people, then leave it like this and just put the red pepper and the Tabasco on the table.
Okay.
It never insults the cook to add more Tabasco. It does insult the cook if you start crying.
It smells fantastic.
So, yeah, I would let that simmer for just a few more minutes and then it's good to go.
All right. Thank you. Well, you'll find this recipe along with perhaps some of the guesstimations on the additions of some of the garlic powder and stuff online, and we hope to see you at our potluck coming very soon. Okay.
In the Holy Trinity. Can you talk and shop at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, why don't you start talking about our topic?
Oh, that's right.
Snap, snap. You're going to edit that out, right?
As many of you know, we're actually in the time period of getting here with Lent. Now, Lent's one of those interesting times in the church where, you know, we kick things off with Ash Wednesday and everybody comes out. We're not doing Lent.
Don't we kick things off with Mardi Gras?
Oh, sorry.
I do.
Where was I?
You're starting over. I apologize.
Sorry.
It's alright, 40 seconds is just like $1 million in studio time, so we're doing great.
Only when I'm behind the camera.
So,
We might not have all the forms we need when we get there, but still, we'll get it done. So,
that's why Jenny has extra forms for you. whenever
yes,
you need.
always, yes.
Okay, so we chopped up some green onions real quick and are going to put those on top as a garnish. It's not something you have to do, but it's kind of a nice little addition to finish off the dish.